Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. So today we are going to start with this chapter for human geography. This is from geography class 12th, and let's start reading and understanding what this chapter is all about. The first chapter is on population, the distribution, density, growth and composition. The people are very important component of a country. India is the second most populous country after China in the world with its total population of 1.2 million, that is 2011 census. India's population is larger than the total population of North America, South America, Australia put together. More often, it is argued that such a large population invariably puts pressure on its limited resources, and it is also responsible for many socioeconomic problems in the country. In this chapter, we will discuss the patterns of distribution, density, growth, and composition of India's population. Distribution of population. Examine figure and try to describe the patterns of spatial distribution of population shown on it. It is clear that India has a highly uneven pattern of population distribution. The percentage shares of population of the states and union territories in the country show that Uttar Pradesh has the highest population, followed by Maharashtra, Bihar, and West Bengal. Check from the table that UP, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, along with Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Gujarat, together accounts for about 76% of the total population of the country. On the other hand, share of population is very small in the states like Jammu Kashmir, 1.04%, Arunachal Pradesh 0.11%, and Uttarakhand 0.84%. In spite of these states having fairly large geographical area. Such an uneven spatial distribution of population in India suggests a close relationship between population and physical, socio-economic, and historical factors. As far as the physical factors are concerned, it is clear that climate, along with terrain and availability of water, largely determines the pattern of population distribution. Consequently, we observe that the North Indian plains, deltas, and coastal plains have higher proportion of population than the interior districts of southern and central Indian states, Himalayas, and some of the northeastern and western states. However, the development of irrigation, Rajasthan, availability of mineral and energy resources, Jharkhand, and development of transport network, peninsular states have resulted in moderate to high concentration of population in areas which were previously very thinly populated. Among the socio-economic and historical factors of distribution of population, important ones are evolution of settled agriculture and agriculture development, pattern of human settlement, development of transport network, industrialization and urbanization. It is observed that the regions failing in the river plains and falling in the river plains and coastal areas of India have remained the regions of larger population concentration. Even though the uses of natural resources like land and water in these regions have shown a sign of degradation, the concentration of population remains high because of an early history of human settlement and development of transport network. On the other hand, urban regions of Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai, and Jaipur have high concentration of population due to industrial development and urbanization, drawing a large number of rural urban migrants. Density of population. Density of population is expressed as number of persons per unit area. It helps in getting a better understanding of spatial distribution of population in relation to land. The density of population in India 2011 is 382 persons per square kilometers. There has been a steady increase of more than 200 persons per square kilometer over the last 50 years as density of population has increased from 117 persons per square kilometers in 1971 to 382 persons per square kilometers in 2011. The data shown in appendix give an idea of spatial variation of population densities in a country which ranges from as low as 17 persons per square kilometers in Arunachal Pradesh to 11,297 persons in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Among the northern India states of Bihar, 1102, West Bengal, 1029, and Uttar Pradesh, 828, have higher densities, while Kerala, 859, and Tamil Nadu, 555, have higher densities among the peninsular Indian states. States like Assam, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand, Odisha have moderate densities. The hill states of the Himalayan region and northeastern states of India, excluding Assam, have relatively low densities, while the Union territories, excluding Andaman and Nicobar, have very high densities of population. The density of population, as discussed in the earlier paragraph, is a crude measure of human and land relationship. To get a better insight into the human land ratio in terms of pressure of population on total cultivable land, the physiological and agricultural densities should be found out, which are significant for a country like India having a large agriculture population. Growth of population. Growth of population is a change in the number of people living in a particular area between 2 points of time. Its rate is expressed in percentage, and population growth has two components, namely natural and induced. While the natural growth is analyzed by assessing the crude birth and death rates, the induced components are explained by volume of inward and outward movement of people in any given area. However, in the present chapter, we will only discuss the natural growth of India's population. The decadal and annual growth rates of Indian population are both very high and steadily increasing over time. The annual growth rate of India's population is 1.6%, 2011. The growth rate of population in India over for the last 1 century has been caused by annual birth rate and death rate and the rate of migration, and thereby shows different trends. There are four distinct phases of growth identified within this period. Phase 1. The period from 1901 to 1921 is referred to as period of stagnant or stationary phase of growth of India's population. Since in this period the rate was very low, even recording a negative growth rate during 1911 to 1921. Both the birth rate and death rate were very high, keeping the rate of increase low. Poor health and medical services, illiteracy of people at large, and insufficient distribution system of food and other basic necessities were largely responsible for a high birth and death rates in this period. The decades of 1921 to 1951 are referred to as period of steady population growth. An overall improvement in health and sanitation throughout the country brought down the mortality rate. At the same time, better transport and communication system improved distribution system. The crude birth rate remained high in this period, leading to higher growth rate than the previous phase. This is impressive at the backdrop of Great Economic Depression 1920s and World War II. The decades of 1951 and 1981 are referred to as the period of population explosion in India, which was caused by a rapid fall of mortality rate but a high fertility rate of population in the country. The average annual growth rate was as high as 2.2%. It is in this period after the independence that developmental activities were introduced through a centralized planning process and the economy started showing up, ensuring the improvement of living condition of people at large. Consequently, there was a high natural increase and higher growth rate. Besides increased international migration, bringing in Tibetans, Bangladeshis, Nepalis, and even people from Pakistan contributed to high growth rate. In the post 1981 till present, the growth rate of country's population, though remained high, has started down slowing down gradually. A downward trend of crude birth rate is held responsible for such a population growth. This was in turn affected by an increase in the world mean age at marriage, improved quality of life, particularly education of females in the country. The growth rate of population is, however, still high in the country, and it has been projected by World Development Report that population of India will touch 1350 million by 2025. The analysis done so far shows the average growth rate, but country also has a wide variation in growth rates from one area to another, which is discussed below. Regional variation in population growth. The growth rate of population during 91 to 2001 in Indian states and union territories shows very obvious patterns. The states of Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Puducherry, and Goa show a low rate of growth not exceeding 20% over the decade. Kerala registered the lowest growth rate 9.4 not only in this group of states but also in country as a whole. A continuous belt of states from west to east in the northwest, north and north central parts of the country has relatively high growth rate than the southern states. It is in this belt comprising Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Sikkim, Assam, West Bengal, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand, the growth rate on average remained 20 to 25%. During 2001 to 11, the growth rates of almost all states and union territories have registered a lower figure compared to previous decade, namely 91 to 2001. The percentage of decadal growth rates of six most populous states, namely Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh, have fallen during 2001 to 2011 compared to 91 to 2001. The fall being the lowest for Andhra Pradesh, 3.5 percent points, and highest for Maharashtra, 6.7 percent points. Tamil Nadu, 3.9 percent points, and Puducherry, 7.1 percent points, have registered some increase during 2001 to 11 over the previous decade. An important aspect of population growth in India is the growth of its adolescents. At present, the share of adolescents that is up to the age of 10 to 19 years is about 20.9% 2011, among which male adolescents constitute 52.7%, while the female adolescents constitute 47.3%. The adolescent population, though regarded as the youthful population, have high potential, but at the same time they are quite vulnerable if not guided and channelized properly. There are many challenges for the society as far as these adolescents are concerned, some of which are lower age of marriage, illiteracy, particularly female illiteracy, school dropouts, low intake of nutrients, high rate of maternal mortality of adolescent mothers, high rate of HIV and AIDS infection, physical and mental disability or retardedness, drug abuse, alcoholism, juvenile delinquency, and committance of crimes, etc. In view of these, the government of India has undertaken certain policies to impart proper education to adolescent groups so that their talents are better channelized and properly utilized. The National Youth Policy is one example which has been designed to look into the overall development of our large youth and adolescent population. The National Youth Policy NYP 2014, launched in February 2014, proposes a holistic vision of youth of India, which is to empower the youth of the country to achieve their full potential and through them enable India to find its rightful place in the community of nations. In the NYP 2014 has defined the youth as persons of age group 15 to 29 years. The government of India also formulated the national policy for skill development and entrepreneurship in 2015 to provide an umbrella framework to all skilling activities being carried out within the country and to align these common standards and link skilling with demand centers. It appears from the above discussion that the growth rate of population is widely variant over space and time in the country and also highlights important various social problems related to growth population. However, in order to have a better insight into the growth pattern of population, it is also necessary to look into the social composition of population. Population composition. Population composition is a distinct field of study within population geography with a vast coverage of analysis of age and sex, place of residence, ethnic characteristics, tribes, language, religion, marital status, illiteracy and education, occupational characteristics, etc. In this section, the composition of Indian population with respect to their rural urban characteristics, language, religion, and pattern of occupation will be discussed. Rural to urban composition. Composition of population by their respective places of residence is an important indicator of social and economic characteristics. This becomes even more significant for a country where about 68.8% of its total population lives in the village. 2011 census. Do you know that India has almost 6,40,867 villages according to census 2011, out of which 5,97,608, that is 93.2%, are inhabited villages. However, the distribution of rural population is not uniform throughout the country. You might have noted that states in like Bihar and Sikkim have very high percentage of rural population. The states of Goa and Maharashtra have only little over half of their population residing in villages. The union territories, on the other hand, have smaller proportion of rural population. Except Dadra and Nagar Haveli, 53.38%, the size of villages also varies considerably. It is less than 200 persons in the hill states of northeastern India, western Rajasthan and run of Kutch, and as high as 17,000 persons in states of Kerala and in parts of Maharashtra. A thorough examination of the pattern of distribution of rural population of India reveals that both the intrastate and interstate levels, the relative degree of urbanization and extent of rural urban migration regulate the concentration of rural population. You have noted that, contrary to rural population, the proportion of urban population, 31.16% in India, is quite low, but it is showing a much faster rate of growth over the decades. The growth of rate of urban population has accelerated due to enhanced economic development and improvement in health and hygienic conditions. The distribution of urban population too, as in the case of total population, has a wide variation throughout the country. It is, however, noticed that in almost all the states and union territories, there has been a considerable increase of urban population. This indicates both development of urban areas in terms of socio-economic conditions and an increased rate of rural urban migration. The rural urban migration is conspicuous of the case of urban areas along with Along the main road links and railroads in the northern Indian plains, the industrial areas around Kolkata, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Mysuru, Madurai, Coimbatore, Ahmedabad, Surat, Delhi, Kanpur, and Ludhiana, Jalandhar. In the agriculturally stagnant parts of the middle and lower Ganga plains, Telangana, a non irrigated western Rajasthan, remote hilly tribal areas of northeast, along the flood prone areas of peninsular India, and along eastern part of Madhya Pradesh, the degree of urbanization has remained low. Linguistic composition. India is a land of linguistic diversity. According to Greason, Linguistic Survey of India 1903 to 28, there were 179 languages and as many as 554 dialects in the country. In the context of modern India, there are about 22 scheduled languages, a number of non scheduled languages. Among the non scheduled languages, the speakers of Hindi have the highest percentage. The smallest language groups are Sanskrit, Bodo, and Manipuri speakers, 2011. However, it is noticed that the linguistic regions in the country do not have a sharp and distinct boundary. Rather, they gradually merge and overlap in their respective frontier zones. Linguistic classification. The speakers of major Indian languages belong to four language families, which have their subfamilies and branches or groups. This can be better understood from Table 1.2. Religious composition. Religion is one of the most dominant forces affecting the cultural and political life of the majority of Indians. Since religion virtually permeates into almost all aspects of people, family, and community lives, it is important to study the religious composition in detail. The spatial distribution of religious communities in the country, Appendix 5, shows that there are certain states and districts having large numerical strength of one religion, while the same may be very negligibly present in other states. Hindus are distributed as a major group in many states, ranging from 70 to 90% and above, except the districts of states along Indo Bangladesh border, Indo Pak border, Jammu Kashmir, hill states of northeast, and in scattered areas of Deccan Plateau and Ganga Plain. Muslims, the largest religious minority, are concentrated in Jammu Kashmir, certain areas, districts of West Bengal and Kerala, and many districts of Uttar Pradesh, and in and around Delhi and Lakshadweep. They form a majority in Kashmir Valley and Lakshadweep. The Christian population is distributed mostly in rural areas of the country. The main concentration is observed along the western coast of Goa, Kerala, and also in the hill states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Chota Nagpur areas, and hills of Manipur. Sikhs are mostly concentrated in relatively small area of the country, particularly in the states of Punjab, Haryana, and Delhi. Jains and Buddhists, the smallest religious group of India, have their concentration only in selected areas of country. Jains have major concentration in the urban areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Maharashtra, while the Buddhists are concentrated mostly in Maharashtra. The other areas of Buddhist majority are Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh in Jammu Kashmir, Tripura, and Lahul and Spiti in Himachal Pradesh. The other religions of India include Zoroastrians, tribal, and other indigenous faiths and beliefs. These groups are concentrated in small pockets scattered throughout the country. Composition of working population. The population of India, according to their economic status, is divided into three groups, namely main workers, marginal workers, and non workers. It is observed that in India, the proportion of workers, both main and marginal, is only 39.8%, 2011, leaving a vast majority of about 60% as non workers. This indicates that an economic status in which there is a larger proportion of dependent population, further indicating possible existence of large number of unemployed or underemployed people. The proportion of working population of the states and union territories show moderate variation of about 39.6% in Goa to about 49.9% in Daman and Diu. The states with larger percentage of workers are Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, and Meghalaya. Among the union territories, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu have higher participation rate. It is understood that in the context of country like India, the work participation rates tend to be higher in areas of lower levels of economic development, since the number of manual workers are needed to perform subsistence or near subsistence economic activities. The occupational composition of India's population, which actually means engagement of an individual in farming, manufacturing, trade, services, or any kind of professional activities, show a large proportion of primary sector workers compared to secondary and tertiary sectors. About 54.6% of total working population are cultivators and agricultural laborers, whereas only 3.8% of workers are engaged in household industries, and 41.6% are other workers, including non household industries, trade, commerce, construction and repair, and other services. As far as the occupation of a country's male and female population is concerned, male workers outnumber female workers in all the three sectors. Promoting gender sensitivity through Beti Bachao Beti Padhao social campaign. The division of the society into male, female, and transgender is believed to be natural and biological. But in reality, there are social constructs and roles assigned to individuals which are reinforced by social institutions. Consequently, these biological differences become the basis of social differentiations, discriminations, and exclusions. The exclusion of over half of the population becomes a serious handicap to any developing and civilized society. It is a global challenge which has been acknowledged by the UNDP when it mentioned that if development is not engendered, it is endangered. Human Development Report, United Nations Development Program 1995. Discrimination in general and gender discrimination in particular is a crime against humanity. All efforts need to be made to address the denial of opportunities of education, employment, political representation, low wages for similar types of work, disregard to their entitlement to a dignified life, etc. A society which fails to acknowledge and take effective measures to remove such discriminations cannot be treated as a civilized one. The government of India has duly acknowledged the adverse impacts of these discriminations and launched a nationwide campaign called Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. The number of female workers is relatively high in primary sector. Though in recent years there has been some improvement in work participation of women in secondary and tertiary sectors. It is important to note that the proportion of workers in agricultural sector in India has shown a decline over the last few decades, 58.2% in 2001 to 54.6% in 2011. Consequently, the participation rate in the secondary and tertiary sector has registered an increase. This indicates a shift of dependence of workers from farm based occupations to non farm based ones, including a sectoral shift in the economy of the country. The spatial variation of work participation rate in different sectors in the country is very wide. For instance, the states like Himachal Pradesh and Nagaland have very large shares of cultivators. On the other hand, the states like Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Madhya Pradesh have higher proportion of agricultural laborers. The highly urbanized areas like Delhi, Chandigarh, and Puducherry have a very large proportion of workers being engaged in other services. This indicates not only availability of limited farming land but also large scale urbanization and industrialization requiring more workers in non farm sectors. Thank you everyone. This was chapter number 1 of Geography class 12th, that should be Economic or Human Geography. Thank you for staying us and all the best for exams. Do like and subscribe the channel because it took a lot of hard work for making out these videos for all of you, and thank you for staying this long. All the best for exams. Do share and subscribe the channel, and thank you.